This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by the good folks over at Ease, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Ease is excited to now be active in the Sacramento area. If you hail from that part of the Golden State, you can now fire up ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E, to place an order for legal cannabis products. From flower to concentrates and from edibles to topicals, Ease has you covered. And since June is designated as LGBTQ Pride Month, Ease is donating 5% of all its proceeds for the month to the very worthy organization Out and Equal, which works to boost workplace equality for the LGBTQ community. You can learn more about Out and Equal over at their website, outandequal.org, with those three words spelled out in full, outandequal.org. And as always, ease.com is the place to go to find legal marijuana products for delivery in California and to tap into their collection of industry insight and analysis developed from their properly aggregated and anonymized sales data stream. Big thanks to everyone over at Ease for the support that makes today's news possible. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, June 15th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 512 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day was picked up, as it so often is, by the astute Tom Angel over at Marijuana Moments, who has a good story up about an unsuccessful attempt by an Oklahoma senator to remove the protections for state legal medical marijuana that were recently included as an amendment to a larger funding bill by the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies. We reported on this one earlier this week. Yesterday, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford put up an amendment that would have delayed the protections for as long as cannabis was listed as a Schedule I drug. Thankfully, the senator pulled back his amendment after realizing he lacked the votes for passage. Another attempted amendment that was more amenable to progressive policy reform was also put forth unsuccessfully, as Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley put up and then took down proposed language to extend the bill's protections to include adult use cannabis. The chairman of the Federal Reserve just said that until Congress changes laws regarding banking services and the marijuana industry, banks and other financial institutions are not free to extend regular business banking services to legal marijuana companies. This is one of our longer-running storylines on the show and in the industry. Jerome Powell, chair of the Federal Reserve, was quoted by MarketWatch as saying, quote, "This is a very difficult area because many state laws permit the use of marijuana and federal law still doesn't. So it puts federally chartered banks in a very difficult situation. Of course, our mandate has nothing to do with marijuana. We would love to see it clarified," unquote. Swing over to Marijuana Business Daily for more background and links on this story. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. We wrap up today's top stories in Massachusetts, where it's looking more and more likely that the state will not have adult use dispensaries licensed and ready by July 1st. Yesterday, the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission met, but did not yet issue any adult use dispensary licenses. Stephen Hoffman, the chair of the commission, said that they were still waiting on background checks and follow-up information from applicants, and noted that the July 1st opening date was a goal of the commission, but not an actually legislated deadline. The commission will meet again on Tuesday. One thing to keep in mind here is that the first adult use shops in Massachusetts will be medical shops that are already up and running. So in theory, those dispensaries could get their license on July 1st and open right up for adult use business. I'm sure we'll be revisiting this storyline in the coming days. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Ease.com is the only URL you need if you value California legal marijuana delivery that follows all of the state's various cannabis laws, which is not an especially easy thing to do these days. That kind of strict compliance with California marijuana law results in top quality cannabis products that you know are properly tested, packaged, and labeled. You get exactly what you pay for when you shop through Ease.com. And besides gaining the ability to get top quality products delivered to you in less than an hour, you're also helping to support all the good causes that Ease gets involved in, including their new partnership with the Success Center SF program, which works to help transition young adults formerly caught up in San Francisco's juvenile detention program into new lives built around good jobs and education. To learn more about the work of Success Centers SF, just open up successcenterssf.org. with SF as in San Francisco. SuccessCentersSF.org. And as always, ease.com is the place to turn for all your legal California marijuana delivery needs. That's ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E. All right, time for the Blitz. The Maine State Supreme Court ruled this week that a Maine paper company does not have to cover the costs of their employees' medical marijuana. The case involved paper company Twin Rivers, which fought back against an employee injured on the job who said that medical cannabis was safer and cheaper than narcotic painkillers in treating his pain. In the 5-2 decision, the court found in favor of Twin Rivers by saying that federal law prohibiting marijuana took precedence. WBUR has a good interview up with Senators Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and Cory Gardner of Colorado, talking about their recently introduced States Act, which would largely remove many of the federal prohibitions on state legal cannabis. Totally worth the click over and listen. A federal tax court just decided on a case involving a medical marijuana dispensary in Colorado that sought the right to deduct business expenses from the part of their revenue that does not involve actual cannabis products. Besides selling cannabis, the Ultrameds dispensaries, like most legal cannabis shops, sold accessories and other non-marijuana products and wanted to deduct normal business expenses from those sales. However, according to reporting over at Forbes, the tax court just ruled against the dispensaries and lumped all of their businesses together as involving a federally controlled substance. Definitely a story to dive into in full. New Cannabis Ventures has a story up about the just announced acquisition of a Jamaica-based medical marijuana company by Canadian cannabis company the Green Organic Dutchman, or TGOD for short. In the deal, TGOD will buy into 49% of Epican Medicinals Limited, a fully integrated and licensed medical marijuana company in Jamaica with a stated annual production capacity of more than 30,000 pounds per year. The New Mexico State Medical Cannabis Advisory Board was forced to cancel its May meeting because it did not have enough board members to hold a proper quorum. The board meets just twice a year to consider recommendations about issues like medical marijuana qualifying conditions and is currently down to just 2 members, one shy of the minimum number of 3 to meet. This is occurring during a time when the ranks of New Mexican medical marijuana patients are growing at a fast clip, with just under 54,000 registered compared to just under 35,000 at the start of 2017. Hopping a couple states over to Nevada, we have state cannabis authorities set to release up to 84 new adult use licenses that will only be available to already open or provisionally licensed operators. The state will take applications for the new licenses between July 13th and the 23rd, with decisions to follow within 90 days. And finally for today and for the week, Rolling Stone has a must-read article up about a new resolution just introduced into the U.S. Congress by California Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Congresswoman Lee's proposed resolution calls on states to take measures to provide better access to the legal marijuana industry to non-white participants. It's a fairly well-established fact that the legal cannabis industry is overwhelmingly composed of white people, your podcaster included, which isn't very fair historically considering that it's been non-white communities that have borne the brunts of the war on marijuana and the ongoing broader war on drugs, despite the fact that cannabis use is pretty consistent across racial demographics. Congresswoman Lee's resolution specifically presses states to automatically expunge the criminal records of nonviolent marijuana offenders, to eliminate marijuana business fees to increase access to those without large pools of capital, and to allow people with cannabis-related offenses on their criminal records to get involved in the industry. Congresswoman Lee took some time to talk about her resolution to Rolling Stone, so I'd zip over and give it a full read. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Just a quick reminder that we'll be taking our annual summer break during the week of July 4th. Our last show ahead of the vacation will be on Friday, June 29th, and we'll be back up and running on Monday, July 9th. We'll also be hitting pause on all of our email newsletters that week. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.